How do you keep balanced and healthy, reporting all the low vibrational negative insanity in politics? Well, I practice what I preach. The 45-55 works. People who have been with me or been close to me know I don't swing too far one way or too far the other. It's quite easy. And it's a testament to all members, not just me. Yes, I hear a lot more. You get the condensed version of the sin eating in many ways. But it's a testimony to us all that we're all reasonably sane, given the volumes. It's not just my show. There's many other shows that cover stuff, given the volumes of information that we've had to consume. And most of it's not pleasant, as we all know. And the only way you can do that is by staying in the 45-55. One of the biggest tests was the Illuminati One show. Boy, did that tip people over the edge. It wasn't a pleasant show to speak or read out, given that level of torture and violence and abuse on children. Even given the fact that it was largely Illuminati children, it makes no difference to me. And you do have to retain a balance. It can be difficult at times. Some of the things that the clowns do, but at least they've got a purpose. You've got lower level puppet clowns in the alt media who have zero purpose and zero life. Why are they doing it? And sometimes that can be mildly annoying, but most times I just laugh at it because it's ridiculous, and that comes with mastering the self. And we've covered, psychology a lot in the shows about mastery of the self, mastery of the emotions. Without that, then you're going to struggle with the 45-55. And that's where you gain control. Don't let other people dictate your mood. Don't let information dictate your mood either. It's there to process and absorb and then go through it. And you do it in a balanced way. It can't get you too angry, and it can't get you overexcited, because either end of the spectrum is not good, because it takes a while to come down. So if you react to bad news and you go 45, you've only got a 5% correction. A lot easier than 30 or 40%. It's the same example as when the drug takers, they go on a high. So they're going pretty much 90-10 or 100-0. And then what happens? They don't go back to balance, they go back to the bottom. And so then they need more to pick them back up. And they're swinging 90-10, 10-90. You can't live life like that. That's why drug addicts struggle. They've got no balance. So that's the key. Politics is a joke anyway. We've all seen that now. The evidence of that. People don't need me to tell you that politics is staged and drama laden. Because no one discusses the policies. I was talking to Holly today. Why vote for anyone? Not one politician has discussed the policies. That's what they're supposed to be there for. The same as the portal people. They don't discuss policies. They discuss personalities. Well, personalities don't matter. It's what are they doing that counts. So that's how I keep balanced. sometimes it's a little bit more testy. More so when general people mess about. I just can't get my head around it. More so than the clowns. They have a purpose. They want to bring us down. But what is the people's purpose? Ridiculous. Previously said that the IRS were denied access to their main computers and that all contents were downloaded elsewhere for analysis and auditing. What has come of this? I could say not a lot, and I could say quite a lot in the same thing. They are certainly not able to backdoor people's bank accounts currently, and that will not be returning. They have no need to gain access to anyone's bank account, and they are certainly blocked from transferring funds out of the IRS to Swiss banks and Rothschild banks anymore. So a lot that has been achieved. What we would have liked is for it to be reformed. We did a whole package of how to reform it and how the country can become self-sufficient within 3 to 5 years, whereby it doesn't need to trust the actual taxes being collected and being used for the government, not for Rothschilds, would make a vast difference, which then means that the country doesn't have to borrow 40%. 4 out of every $10 is borrowed currently. Why? Because the IRS takes all the taxes, or the income tax anyway. Are tax revenues in all countries being retrieved from Swiss accounts and held safe and temporarily in a trust? Not to my knowledge. I just don't know. Sorry. I would like to know with what set of government of Austria Kim talked to. I don't recall her speaking to the Austrian. I could be wrong. She speaks to many people globally. I'm not always there when she's on calls, but I could always ask. It's changing so quick, and as I know, the president was a member of a secret brotherhood, and I'm sure he's not the only one. Not in Austria, no. No. Land of the Habsburgs. Where are we next? Are the Australian Aboriginals any closer to clarity the real Kim? Not really understanding that question. I don't know what you mean by the real Kim. As regards the Australian Aboriginals any closer to knowing the truth, then the answer would be no. Some of them, along with agents who we threw out of our group, are feeding the Australian people, tribal people, a whole pack of lies. And it's new boss, same as the old boss with Jesper and the Kingdom of Mana crew. We did try to tell them, but they're pursuing another one of the chosen ones and fake ancient tribes of Israel, and they're descendants of Solomon, really. So you're all child sacrifices then. We're going to see further examples in the show of this, people putting themselves up as something more than they are. I don't care what people want to call themselves, but at least act in the role. If you're going to call yourself, I'm the reincarnation of Jesus, at least act like him. Since when would Jesus chase after RVs, or Mary Magdalene for that matter? It makes no sense. And that's the problem. You've got a small group of people who think they're more important than everybody else. I would sooner they do something important than everybody else than be. That's ego. So I hope that answers the question. Is the AI now defeated? The original psychotic one? Yes. Can you please tell us things that have been done and dusted, taken down or cleared up that have been concluded? They get stated when safe to do so. So if it's safe to do it today, then more will come out. If not, it won't. Perhaps it would be better, I know you're a fairly new member, is to find the events piece. Tells you all on there. Do you think this administration will ever implement the plans of the Manor World Holding Trust? Good question. It's, I would describe it as a bit hit and miss. That's my opinion only. It's a bit hit and miss. There seems to be a large interest in it, and yet when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, things seem to go a bit sideways or get delayed. I don't think this country can afford too many more delays. Actions have to be taken, and fairly soon, before this country completely collapses. There's nothing left. The manufacturing's going, the jobs are going, the housing market's starting to collapse, the price of food is going up, the price of gas is going up, and people are losing jobs. Despite what fake financial experts tell you. Even the stock market this week has lost 1,000 points in the last 3 days. If there's nothing there, then chaos reigns. And that's what Kim has tried to do for the last 2 or 3 years, is to avoid chaos. Some people have said, don't pay the government anything. Well, you're talking about, by not paying the government, you're talking about affecting 75 to 100 million people by not paying the government. That's just straight off the bat. There's always add-ons because of that. There's 25 million people employed by the government. It's the highest salary in the world by far. Well, when you consider, say, every family's got a family of 4, or 3 or 4, you're not just affecting 25 million people, you're affecting 75 to 100 million people who then have no money to pay for X, Y, and Z, which then means other people are then laid off because no one's buying their goods, because no one's being paid. These are the things at that level you have to take into account. I understand people saying don't give the money, government money, they only waste it. But what has been done and being made clear is the funds that are being sent covers wages only and minor operating costs. No giant budgets for military to waste so they can push it out the back door and send it to fake Chinese elders. That stopped. So I hope, in my opinion, I said it recently in the show, unless Trump implements some of the actions and packages prepared for him by next November, I don't think he's going to get in again. So it's his choice. He can arse around waiting for Israel to do something, or you can wait another 10 years for Chinese elders to do nothing, or you can have what's on the table already. It's up to him. But if he doesn't, this country's going to collapse and he will not get voted in again. Thomas, I would like you to have a live Q&A show. Have you ever considered this? Well, I did a few of those type of Zooms. My time is not as free as it was for certain things, and other times it is. There's a lot of members who don't like the Q&A. So, doing a whole Q&A live, it doesn't make much difference to me. Because I'll always answer the questions, no matter what I'm asked. Even though we get accused of not answering questions, and yet we're the only show that has a Q&A section. That bizarre world they live in. Maybe. If members would like it, then I would consider it. But I think you'll find that most won't. Many who are aware have been so from birth, to some degree at least. Does this mean that the soul knew to expect in this lifetime, what to expect in this lifetime? Has it intentionally chosen to incarnate at this time? Yes, to the latter question. My understanding is far too many people, 85%, are either not real or too damaged. And the ones that were left were also damaged. And it couldn't be fixed from the inside, and could only be fixed by souls coming in from the outside, which is what happened in the last 60 years. What defines an original human and human soul? Not really understanding that question. A while ago it was said that petrol will come down in price to 60 cents. Any more news on that? Good question. I think it was Kim that mentioned that. The issue is they're deliberately inflating the prices, A, to keep cash flow going, and B, they're still playing the oil currency game, because all the other currency games have pretty much been written off now or failed. And this is why he wants to go into Iraq, Iran, and all the other oil countries, Venezuela, you name it. And so they can collect enough oil to then leverage as an oil-backed currency, which failed also. And so the prices are still being stacked, but it shouldn't be anywhere near $2, $3, or $4 when it costs, I think, if memory serves me correctly, about 7 cents a gallon. Oops. To produce. We're being robbed. You said we would see a visible change in the moon. It's still there. Look on the right hand side, down the right hand side towards the top. Since we are deprogramming, will we naturally connect with the quantum system? In what way? A bit vague on that question. There's very few who are capable of being able to operate or work with the quantum system. Technically everyone's connected to it because everyone's mapped. Not only on this planet, but millions of other planets as well. But it's not only for this planet and solar system, it goes multiverse. Final question before we have a music break. Given that Pompeo, Bear and Durham were reportedly in Italy when the Vatican was raided for financial reasons, why was the trio there? I don't know, sorry. I haven't managed to check up on what they've been doing. Worlds of politics. Skullduggery, I've no doubt. Or maybe they're going to arrest people, who knows. Do the trio know about Manor World Holding Trust? Pompeo does, that's a certainty, given what he's connected to.